Come with me to a place called Germany. Feel the rich history on almost every corner. Let's explore the fascinating stories it has to tell. Take a deep breath, hold on to the moment, and experience it with all your senses. Explore traditional crafts and taste rich flavors. Learn about art and design and the people behind it. Let's appreciate the little things and wander through unexpected places. Dive into stunning nature, the colors, and the life romantic cities have to offer. Go to the beach? Well, a different kind of beach. There's so much to discover here if you go off the beaten track. Join us in Travel Destination Germany.
Good morning and welcome to the GNTO London's final webinar of the year. Joining me today are Martin Fenneman, Brandenburg Tourism and Marketing, Tino Motzeler from Potsdam Tourism, and Jeanette Birk, Prussian Palaces and Gardens Foundation, Berlin Brandenburg. They've put together some great presentations for you, and if you have any questions for our presenters, please drop them into the chat box. Now, let me welcome our first guest, Martin Fenneman.
Thanks, Charles. Thanks for having me.
Hello, Martin. It's great to have you with us this morning. I know you have a lot to tell us, so I'll let you get straight on.
Hello, I'm Martin, and I work for the Tourism Office of Brandenburg, and I'd like to welcome you all to the presentation. And well, let's start. I present the region around Berlin, Brandenburg, and first of all, I would like to take you there with a flight by plane.
You're clear for departure.
Well, and this is what we can learn. If you fly to Berlin, you will always land in Brandenburg anyway, since the new BER airport is located right at the border of Berlin and Brandenburg. And from there, you just have to leave the airport and you are right away in Dahme Lakelands, a region which is a lake district. And for example, from the airport, you have a direct bus connection, which takes you to the first houseboat company where you can do a houseboat holiday. Brandenburg surrounds Berlin completely and thus has the same accessibility by plane, car, or train. There are direct connections, for example, to the Treetop Pass in Belitz-Heilstätten, the Flamingskate, or also Potsdam. And of all of these things you will hear later in the presentation. And Brandenburg has the right topics risen after the pandemic, since it has outdoor spaces, lots and lots of possibilities for any kind of activity holidays by bike or by boat or whatever, with 3,000 lakes, some 3,000 lakes, so much water. You have seen it in the video. And well, it is also an off the beaten track destination, so it might be new for the one or other, and especially interesting for this. The next thing which I want to present you is the Treetop Pass in Belitz-Heilstätten. It is a pass which is 23 meters high and 320 meters long, and it is just a stone's throw away from the Berlin motorway ring. And well, it is accessible also for elderly people by a lift. And well, you might know some treetop passes in several places nowadays, but what is really, really special about the one in Belitz-Heilstätten is that it was built on the area of the former Belitz Sanatorium. This is a lost place which has become accessible again by the Treetop Pass. And it was built on the area of the Belitz-Heilstätten, the sanatorium, where they once cured tuberculosis. And it witnessed a lot of changes during history. It was a German military hospital, a Russian hospital, and afterwards, yeah, some places became complete ruins. So many of the buildings, which look sometimes like manor houses, have they are ruins nowadays, and therefore, besides on the tree tops, you can also look inside the ruins and see the trees growing out of the sanatorium. There are also guided tours inside some of the ruins which are still accessible and also available in English language. And so they tell you something about how the circumstances during the change of the century have been, how tuberculosis could occur, which curious diets have to be kept, and all these other things. And obviously, as you might guess, you will have lots and lots of Instagrammable photo opportunities. Next thing I want to take you to is the Flamingskate, a special circular tour for skating people. So however you want to skate on 8 wheels, it can either be just for fun or also an enduring test, since there are 8 circular courses with an all of length of 230 kilometers. And they are just waiting for you to be tried. And cyclists are also welcome. You haven't any disturbance through car traffic, and the surface is all black ice, like the professional skating people say. So for all of you who are really into skating, come to Flamingskate. There are courses from 11 kilometers long to 95 kilometers long. So however high you want to go skating, there's a possibility at Flamingskate. And it is suitable for families, definitely, since you can also take it by bike. And I'd like to give you a short impression on this with me and my own family.
Noch 1 Kilometer.
Fahrrad von vorne. So, the next region I'd like to take you to is the Spreewald area. It takes you about an hour's drive from Berlin to get there, and it's a sort of network of 400 kilometers of narrow canals formed during the Ice Age already. So that makes it that some places are not accessible by car traffic, and the traditional way of transport, the punt boat, is still the most important way of transport in Spreewald, and that's what you usually do as a guest nowadays. You be shipped through the Spreewald with a punt boat. But in recent years, it didn't only has become popular in summer, it is also getting popular in autumn and winter, since there are punt tours which stove fire or glühwein. So they introduced new choices to do a punt tour nowadays. And afterwards, if it might be cold, you can warm up by visiting Spreewaldtherme Spa or Spreewelten Spa, which both are including also a hotel. And of course, you will find in Spreewald the ethnic minority, the Sorbisch people, who have their own traditions, their own costumes, and their own language. And another thing which you will definitely find in Spreewald are the cucumbers, the gherkins, or pickles. You will find them anywhere. It's a famous East German product which survived all the changes. So, and the last thing I would like to take you to in my presentation is the Pückler Park Branitz. So Pückler here in the picture, he's a really interesting guy, a sort of celebrity of his time. He was a garden designer, and he had his palace and his park in Branitz, which is part of the city of Cottbus in the south. So it's also 1 hour's drive south of Berlin. Well, Pückler was a womanizer, even more womanizer than Casanova once was. It was said that he once drove up in front of Café Kranzler in Berlin with a carriage and 4 white stags just to impress his future wife, Lucy. He financed his garden design passion in a broader sense with travel writing, and so he was a sort of an early blogger, so to say. He traveled a lot, also to England, but that is a different story. Preferably, he traveled to Oriental places, and he brought all the influences of his travelings into his garden design. So, consequently, the garden pyramid, which you can see in the picture, is used like pyramids were used in Egypt. It is his own grave. And there are lots and lots more of stories about Fürst Pückler. But I suggest just come to Brandenburg and discover all these stories on your own, because he's really an interesting guide and, well, still undiscovered. You haven't heard of him so far. I think it would be a good stuff to have a Hollywood movie about him. But as I said, just come to Brandenburg and discover yourself.
Martin, that was great. Thank you. Really good presentation from you there. Now, I also have a few questions for you. Brandenburg is not far from Berlin, so what are the possibilities to combine the two in a single trip?
Charles, that exactly makes Brandenburg so attractive, the combination possibilities with Berlin. For example, if you stay on a houseboat holiday in Brandenburg or you are playing golf in the weekend, you can go shopping at Kudamm, for example. Or you stay in the Hall of Tropical Islands, 26 degrees all year long, also in autumn. You can combine it with sightseeing at Brandenburger Tor. Or you make a school trip to a hostel by the lake in Brandenburg and an excursion to Berlin Wall at Bernauer Straße. So that's lots of possibilities you can have.
Yeah, definitely a great combination, Berlin and Brandenburg. So now a question from someone who's into hiking. Do you have any recommendations for hiking in Brandenburg?
Well, since I've shown in my presentation, I have a family, and sometimes it happens that I can convince my sons to go hiking with me. And we have a special tip for you. It is the Doppelter Beutzenburger, the double Beutzenburger, with two options. One is 11 kilometers, and the other is 19 kilometers length. And it's in the region of Uckermark, so to say, an insider tips of the Berliners, where they also go. And it leads through forests and meadows and to the picturesque village of Beutzenburg. And you come across a lake, Schumellensee, and you can go swimming there. And it all starts and ends at the former stables in Beutzenburg, where nowadays is hosted a cafe, and you can have a wonderful cake and coffee at the end.
Sounds wonderful, Martin. So finally, something that our listeners would really love to hear from you. Do you have any insider tips?
Yes, but I'm not really willing to to tell them all. It's for those who really want to come. My insider tip is come to Brandenburg, and I will show you the best places to go to. But of course, I have several more hiking tips, and also especially wellness hotels, which I gave as a present to my wife. So I have some good tips on offer, but I will tell you only if you come to Brandenburg.
Okay, Martin, thank you. So really the best tip is come to Brandenburg. Great tip. So thank you. And now for our next guest, Tino Mozzaler. Good morning, Tino.
Good morning, Charles. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you with us today. So I know you also have a great presentation for us, so let me not take any more time and please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tino. I'm from Potsdam Marketing and Service. We are officially entrusted by the City Council of Potsdam with the tourism marketing, but also offer services such as organizing group trips and guided tours, for example. So, welcome to Potsdam, everyone, the city of sans souci, which is French for without worries. Potsdam is the state capital of Brandenburg, which is the surrounding area of Berlin, and it's only a stone throw away from the metropolis of Berlin. Potsdam was a royal residential city for the Prussian kings. They turned Potsdam into a paradise of numerous palaces in 3 vast park areas that are now UNESCO World Heritage. The palaces and gardens of Potsdam are a symbol of the perfect interplay between art and nature. The diversity of Europe is not only visible but also tangible in Potsdam, in the Dutch Quarter, the Russian colony Alexandrovka, or on the old market square, which resembles an Italian piazza. This diversity can also be found in the city's Christmas markets. Besides the main blue Christmas market that you can see on that picture, there's also an Advent market in the Russian colony Alexandrovka. There's a Polish Christmas market with lots of handcrafts on the new market. Also, a small Bohemian market in Babelsberg. And usually there's also a Sinterklaas festival in the Dutch Quarter. But I think it's always better to let the pictures speak themselves. Please enjoy our film about wintertime in Potsdam. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. I think, or I hope, you got the impression that Potsdam is a city to really slow down, to unwind. Whether you stroll through the city center with its magnificent Baroque facades or discover the hidden paradises within Potsdam's park areas, you will always discover something new. The palaces, they range from Sanssouci Palace to Sicilienhof Country House and the New Garden, or Babelsberg Palace and Park to Peacock Island in Berlin. Surrounded by these important World Heritage sites, the city center with its Baroque facades and hidden backyards invite you to stroll and discover. Potsdam's cultural diversity is particularly reflected in its architecture, such as by the red brick stone facades in the Dutch Quarter, for example, or the wooden block houses in the Russian colony Alexandrovka. They kind of look like witches' cottages. Or by the Italy-inspired piazza of the old market square with an obelisk and remarkable arcades. The old market is the city's old and new heart. It connects past and present. It has a remarkable ensemble of museums, for example, with the Film Museum, the Potsdam Museum, and the Barberini, directly in the heart of the city. The Museum Barberini is one of the most famous art museums in Germany, by the way, concentrating on Impressionism. The Prussian rulers also loved the arts, so the picture gallery, for example, in Sanssouci Park, is the oldest gallery building in Germany. International art mingles in Potsdam with local street culture. For example, the Schiffbauergasse, originally used to produce steamships as well as coffee substitutes, the quarter has become one of the centers for arts and culture in Potsdam. Heritage-protected buildings have been restored and turned into new residences for art, theater, and concerts. Even though you don't need perfect weather for visiting palaces and art galleries, Potsdam's vast park areas are best seen in springtime, when Mother Nature turns gray into a colorful play of flowers. Also, the annual Tulip Festival in the Dutch Quarter is a highlight in the city's event calendar. Potsdam is also easy to be explored by bike. There's bike lanes connecting Sanssouci Park with the New Garden and Sicilienhof Country House, as well as with Babelsberg Park and the Baroque City Center. But let's watch another short clip to see what spring is like in Potsdam. Who visits Potsdam in spring is on a journey in the footsteps of Europe. The panoramic bike tour takes you along picturesque paths, past monuments of Europe's rich cultural heritage. Discover the French church, Potsdam's oldest preserved church building. Explore the unique architectural ensemble of the Dutch Quarter and the Scottish-looking Nowen Gate in neo-Gothic style. Enjoy the idol of Russian colony Alexandrovka, which bears witness to the connection between Prussian kings and Russian Tsars. Feel the magic of Italian Dolce Vita at the Belvedere Pfingstberg and get lost in the green and blue of the UNESCO cultural landscape. On the historic Glienicke Bridge, which connects east and west. Experience Babelsberg Palace surrounded by Pöckler's creative garden art. Enjoy Potsdam in spring and discover Europe. Dream your dream of Sans Souci. As you could see in the film, there's lots of water in Potsdam. The Havel River and its lakes are surrounding Potsdam, turning Potsdam into an island. Picturesque bathing lakes flow into endless water sport areas. Whether sailing, canoeing, or motorboating, the Havel always entices you onto the water. Especially in summer, Potsdammers and visitors enjoy to get out onto and into the water. So let's have another look, another film of the summer. So, as you could see, the Havel River offers great opportunities to see Potsdam from a different angle, such as the English-appearing Babelsberg Palace or the Glienicke Bridge. The bridge connects Potsdam with Berlin, but during Cold War times, the bridge was the border between Potsdam in East Germany and West Berlin. It was only used to exchange captured spies between East and West. Don't worry, this was the last film to show you for now, but for those who are wondering why I'm showing you so many films of Potsdam, filming is kind of in our DNA. Potsdam has a long tradition of national and international filmmaking. In 1911, the foundation stone for Studio Babelsberg was laid, making it now the oldest large-scale studio in the world. Since then, the film studio has always played a role in shaping the international development of cinema. With groundbreaking innovations such as the unleashed camera, science fiction, the countdown, or the first sound and color films. Metropolis, Mockingjay, Inglourious Basterds, or The Bridge of Spies are on the long list of film shots in Babelsberg. With all that filmmaking history and the perfect filming infrastructure, Potsdam became the first German city to be included in the list of UNESCO Creative City of Film in 2019. Especially with all the different European architecture in the city, Potsdam is often used as a film set for scenes playing in other countries. For example, the Amsterdam scenes in the Homeland series were shot in the Dutch Quarter. So there's a great chance, actually, that many of you have seen Potsdam without knowing so. And well, with that in mind, I say thank you for your attention and give over to Charles again.
Tino, thank you for a wonderful presentation. So I've got some questions for you as well. First one I have here is, so where exactly do we find Potsdam on a map?
Potsdam is not far away from Berlin. Actually, it's bordering Berlin. So if you see on the left-hand side, you can see Germany, and the southern parts, obviously, there's Munich and Stuttgart and Nuremberg, and in the northeastern part, there is, and just southwest of Berlin, there is Potsdam. It's actually bordering Berlin.
Okay, great. So now we know where that is. How many palaces are there in Potsdam, Tina?
This is not a question to be answered that easily. It depends on how you count and what you define as a palace. I think it's either 16 or 17, but Jeanette will tell you later about it.
Okay, thank you. I also know that you offer guided tours of the cities. What are the visitor favorites?
There's so many favorites, but there's the Potsdam City Stroll, for example. It perfectly combines the old market with the new market and the Dutch Quarter just within 2 hours. And also there's a Berlin Wall walk from the Glienicke Bridge through the new garden area to the so-called Forbidden City, which is a neighborhood that wasn't allowed to be entered in Cold War times, as there was a Russian counterintelligence investigation prison.
Yeah, thank you, Tina. Yeah, the Glienicke Bridge is featured in a lot of movies too. So what is the
True.
best time of the year or season to visit Potsdam?
I think there's a season for everybody, even in winter when it's a little cold, but you can come here during Christmas season, for example, because as I said before, there's many different Christmas markets. Also spring, obviously, with all the flowers in the park areas, or autumn with the colorful trees, and obviously summer because there's so much water around Potsdam, so there's great opportunities to explore Potsdam from the water side.
Thank you, Tina. Lots of great information there. Thank you. Well, guys, we've had some fantastic presentations already. Next up is Jeanette from the Prussian Palaces and Gardens. Welcome, Jeanette.
Oh, thank you, Charles. Thank you for having me today here. It's a great pleasure for me.
Well, Jeanette, I know you too have a presentation for us, so let's not keep the guests waiting. The floor is yours.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these months we'd like to meet. So hello from the German side. Okay, I'm joking, I know that. Let me just starting by introducing myself. My name is Janet. My profession, tourism. My passion, the Prussian palaces and gardens. The most important message from our side: all the palaces are open again since the middle of this year. Imagine all the beautiful palaces without people. Not a nice thought. Culture wants to touch people, inspire them, and tell stories. We Germans love numerical facts, especially the Prussians. Therefore, I listed some on this slide. Okay, more than 30 palaces and gardens in Potsdam, Berlin, and Brandenburg region. We are belonging since 1990 to the UNESCO World Heritage, and more than 600 employees are caring for that cultural heritage. Let us come close to Prussian palaces. One of the most famous sites in Potsdam is Sanssouci Palace. This regal jewel was once the sprawling summer residence of King Frederick the Great, who would flee bustling Berlin to find sanctuary there. He named it Schloss Sanssouci, after the French were no warriors. Today, Berlin's more polished southwestern neighbor still feels like a retreat to memory. The sparkling lakes that left Johann Mauritz raving about the place centuries ago now find themselves embedded in one of Germany's largest UNESCO World Heritage Sites, filled with palaces and gardens. Potsdam's cultural landscape spans over 2,000 hectares. Curtain up! Stories do not have to be invented here. History comes to life. How about world history? Okay, in short, world history was written here in Potsdam. Imagine the following headline: the Free Powers Conference and the Potsdam Agreement of 1945. In the summer of 1945, world history was made at Sitzienhof Palace in Potsdam. After the end of the hostilities in Europe, representatives of the three main allies of World War II met here for top-level discussion on the restructuring of Europe and the future of Germany. Conference participants were the heads of state of the United States, the Soviet Union, and Great Britain. Harry S. Truman, Joseph Stalin, and Winston Churchill, who was later replaced by his successor, Clement Attlee. The permanent exhibition located at the authentic site has been revised, redesigned, and extended to all of the interiors of the palace. A wealth of historical photographs and diverse information, as well as explanatory text in German, English, and Russian, convey a vivid impression of events at the conference from July 17th to August 2nd, 1945. The exhibition also examines the historical context from Hitler's rise to the devastating war and its end into the Pacific. It was Potsdam that Truman gave the green light to drop atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The palaces and gardens have always been sites of history, even if there was no reference to the Prussian dynasty. Enjoy our short video. You're welcome to follow our stories on social media. A palace is only as beautiful as its surrounding garden. Garden and palace form a Gesamtkunstwerk. We have another video for you, so enjoy it again. So you just saw the Parkes art video, and that's the moment. Leave your worries, hop on the soonest flight. You will be steeped in cultural heritage. That's fit for a king. True friends are never apart, maybe in distance, but never in heart. That's a quotation by our King Frederick the Great. It's a good quotation for the moment. So take care. I thank you for your attention. And I would be chuffed to bits if we could see each other again soon.
Thank you, Jeanette. That was a great presentation.
You're welcome, dear Charles, and of course, dear audience.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions for you. First of all, with so many beautiful palaces to choose from, deciding which one to visit is really difficult. Is there perhaps a ticket or something that allows one to visit all of them?
Oh, Charles, there's no need to worry about that. Of course, yes, there is one ticket for all the palaces in Potsdam. We call it Sanssouci Plus, and it's valid for a single visit to all the palaces here in Potsdam at one day, and of course inclusive a fixed admission time to Sanssouci Palace. By the way, there's a similar ticket available as well for our Charlottenburg Palace Ensemble. And if that is still not enough, we recommend the Berlin-Potsdam Welcome Card. And that's the official tourist ticket for the city of Berlin and Potsdam. And guests can, of course, discover more. So don't be afraid of that.
Great, Jeanette. That really makes the choice a lot easier. So you also mentioned the Prussian palaces were always theatres of history. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I thought that you find this topic interesting. Yes, of course. The palaces and gardens are also the sites of historical events with an impact at both at national and international. And to date, it has not been possible to address each and every one of these events in our permanent exhibition, as you can imagine. That's why at some of these historic places, you will find a ghost chair designed by Philip Stark. Okay, I'm stopping doing promotion. But these chairs are like an invisible witness of time with a short description along the background information available via code. I'd like to give you some examples that make it more clear for you. Imagine we are in 1796 at the Marble Palace. Beethoven was there. So Beethoven, the great composer, he performed a concert for the music enthusiast Frederick Wilhelm at the Marble Palace. So why not telling that to the guests? Or do you know the Quadriga at top of the Brandenburg Gate? You know that's a most known landmark. And this was originally made during the Prussian period, but after the victory over Prussia and his march into Berlin in 1806, the French Emperor Napoleon, he took the quadriga, taken down, packed it up, and transported it to Paris as a spoil of a war. We all know that the quadriga is back. The redesign and, of course, the restoration of the quadriga took place on the grounds of Grunewald Hunting Lodge. And these are symbols and important stories behind our Prussian dynasty. And let me add a final one. 2 sets of Cyrillic graffiti. Yes, Cyrillic graffiti scratched onto the walls of the Blue Gallery. Okay, there is written down, victory is fine word, and the year 1945. So what does it mean? Soviet soldiers scratched onto the walls of the Blue Gallery are among the few surviving reminders of the Red Army's occupation at the end of the Second World War, still preserved in the Prussian palaces. So you can see, I have to tell a lot of stories, but I've finished for now.
Okay, Jeanette, there really is a lot of history there. But the thing that really intrigues me, I think, Ghost by QR code, that has to be Fortschritt durch Technik.
Yes, that is indeed. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, one more question to wrap it up. So what's your favorite place within the Prussian palaces and garden?
Oh, for that I have a quick answer. The Peacock Island. The Peacock Island is a nature reserve, and it's also part of the UNESCO World Landscape, of course. And you have to cross by a ferry, and immediately you have your mood is coming down. You can relax. The island is car-free and can only be explored on foot. And imagine a book, a picnic, and time for the family. What else does it need?
Thank you, Jeanette. And thank you to all our presenters for today. We've had some wonderful information, some great presentations. If you want to find out more, you know that you can get more information from our website. So look forward to seeing you all again. Have a good day and goodbye.
Come with me to a place called Germany. Feel the rich history on almost every corner. Let's explore the fascinating stories it has to tell. Take a deep breath, hold on to the moment, and experience it with all your senses. Explore traditional crafts and taste rich flavors. Learn about art and design and the people behind it. Let's appreciate the little things and wander through unexpected places. Dive into stunning nature, the colors, and the life romantic cities have to offer. Go to the beach? Well, a different kind of beach. There's so much to discover here if you go off the beaten track. Join us in Travel Destination Germany.